Hey there, welcome to the YouTube channel. I'm back again, and I tried very hard to ignore this card. I really didn't. I really did. I really tried, but it's just too good, and it's one of the Jumpstart Foundation cards that I'm still waiting for them to release on MTGO. So I'm hoping this one comes on the 11th of December as well to MTGO, because General Kreat the Boltbringer is just my ideal Goblin commander to a certain extent. 2 in a red for a 2/2 Goblin soldier, and whenever you attack with one or more goblins, you get another goblin that's tapped and attacking. And then it has built-in impact tremors. Whenever another creature you control enters, General Kreat deals 1 damage to each opponent. Right, so they've combined goblins that give you extra goblins when you attack with impact tremors. Yeah, so there's only one way to go with this, and it is purely Goblin typal today. So here we go. Here's what today's deck is all about. I am going to be honest, it's probably going to be the shortest deck tech of the week, because everyone knows what goblins do. So here we go. We're not going to go too far into this. We start with all the 1-drops, then we have all the good ones in. So Fanatical Firebrand, Foundry Street Denizen, Goblin Artisan, Bushwhackers here, just to make sure we can pump everything up a little bit more and give them haste if we need to at some stage for that win. Impulsive Pilferer for the treasures, Mog Fanatic for the damage when we sack it off, Raging Goblin because it's traditional, it's a 1/1 with haste. Let's go with that. Zarpedian Simulacrum is also one with haste. It's got a nice second ability though. I did like this one. 3 in a red, and you can sacrifice it to deal 4 damage to a target creature. That may very well get you some very annoying blockers out later in the game, so bear that in mind. Likewise, because it hasn't got a tap ability in it, you can attack with it if they block with something big, or they block it with a 1/4 or something or other. You can sack this off if you've got the mana to kill it anyway, so let's do that. Skirt Prospector lets us sack off goblins for extra red mana. Torch Courier we can sack off to do something else haste. Crashing Drawbridge is one of the few non-goblins in the deck. I quite like this. It's 2 mana for 0/4 defender, and you can just tap it to give every single creature haste. So you can empty your hand of goblins, give them all haste and go for it and see what happens. So it works for me. Goblin Wall Driver does the whole Battlecry thing when it attacks, and then Goro, Disciple of Rushi. We haven't got really any way of modifying our creatures, I don't think. We haven't got any equipment or auras or counters, really. But the 1 red mana to give all our creatures haste is beneficial. Grenzo, Havoc Razor is also in, just to do the whole goading of creatures or exiling cards we need to do a little bit extra. We can actually goad a lot of creatures with this, by the way, just so we're clear. One of the other technically it is a goblin, it's a shapeshifter, just gives us a way of having some modified creatures if we need to. If we've got spare mana, we want some dragons, we can do that if we've got the Metallic Mimic in play, but it's not the aim of the deck. This is just here to pump up our goblins as we play them. Mog War Marshal comes into play for 4 mana. Well, for 2 mana we get 2 1/1s, so double triggers off General Kreat when they come into play. Runvelt Horde Master just pumps up the ability of our goblins, and when when this or another goblin we control dies, exile top card of our library. If it's a goblin card, you may cast that card until the end of your next turn. So really just sort of like replace your army if it gets wiped out, because goblins aren't the toughest in the world, as we know. Warren Instigator, just for the double strike and putting goblins into the battlefield. Bloodline Pretender, another goblin that gets bigger when we have those creatures come into play. Probably the most expensive card in MTGO land on here, we've got Broadside Bombardiers in the deck, Menace and Haste, and we can sack another creature to do 2 damage, 2 plus the sacrifice mana value of 20 targets. So gives you a way to start lightning bolting things once a turn if we need to, if we sack off some of our 1-drops. Goblin Chieftain does the whole haste and gives all our goblins +1/+1 and haste. Goblin King gives them all Mountain Walk and +1/+1. I'm not sure about the artwork on the one here, but whatever. Rabble Master, at the beginning of your combat on your turn, we get a 1/1 red goblin creature token with haste, and whenever all our goblins have to attack each turn, which they'll be doing anyway, and whenever the Rabble Master attacks, it gets +1/+0 until the end of the turn for each other attacking goblin. So that's cool. War Chieftain gives everything hasting, drops the cost of our goblins. Krenko just sacrifices an artifact. You can put a +1/+1 counter on a goblin, but it's another 3/3 Krenko with haste, which I like the Tin Street Kingpin. When it attacks, we get to put +1/+1 counters on it, and then create a number of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens equal to Krenko's power. Now, even if we've got General Kreat out and we attack with this, that means we're going to get 2 damage into each opponent before we do anything, and then Krenko just gets better and better and better as things go along. The Reckless Bushwhackers here as well, just do the whole surge cost. Do it that way, give all our creatures +1/+0 in haste. Redcap Thief gives us a treasure. Relic Robber just causes people nightmares. If they come in and get, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player creates a 0/1 colourless goblin construct artifact creature with this creature can't block. And at the beginning of your upkeep, this creature deals 1 damage to you. Yeah, gives people a bit of a nightmare getting around, especially if you get 1 on everybody eventually. We've got all 3 squeaks in, so we've got the Dubious Monarch here to do the whole whenever it attacks, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking, and we can cast it from our graveyard by doing that and basically escaping 4. Squeak Goblin Naboo, return it from our graveyard every turn, so we have a blocker every turn, and the Immortal one is also here. We may cast this from our graveyard or from exile. Works really well with these other versions, so it's one of the cards you can always exile. That's fine. Goblin Ringleader, when it comes in, we get to find a whole load of goblins, put them in our hand, and put everything else on the bottom of our library in any order. Yeah, couldn't really do a goblin deck without the Mob Boss. He's back as well in the main set of foundations, so if you get General Kreat, luckily in Jumpstart, and you get this, you'll be away big time. Roaming Throne just gives us another big goblin, I suppose, and the triggered ability of creatures you control additional time. General Kreat's ability, the second one, well, they're both triggered, to be fair. Yeah, so they double up. Not going to complain about that. And then we've got Siege Gang Lieutenant, because at the beginning of combat on our turn, if we control our commander, we get 2 red goblin creature tokens, and they gain haste. And then we can sacrifice a goblin to ping something to it. And then Siege Gang Commander, just a way if we've got lots of mana left at some stage, just to shock anybody we want to, or creatures. Like I said, Goblin's not too hard. Spells, even less hard. Brightstone Ritual gives us red mana for each goblin we have in play. Battle Hymn does 1 red mana for each creature you control. Desperate Ritual gives us 3 red for 2. Dragon Fodder gives us 2 goblins along with Krenko's Command. Poetic Ritual gives us 3 mana for 2. Jessica's Will gives us lots of mana and exiling cards. Seething Song gives us 5 mana for 3. And then Mana Geyser at the top end to ramp up. 3 and 2 red, and gives us a red mana for each of our tap land our opponents controlled, which may seem a bit random. I'm aware of that. There's no Blasphemous Act, there's no chain thing in here, but the mana off Mana Geyser I have used before now to kill with Siege Gang Commander, so bear that in mind. Artifacts, Elixir of Immortality, that's fine. Gain some life, get everything back in when it goes pear-shaped. The boots and the greaves and the other boots are all here to put on things like Krenko or General Kreat to protect them. A little bit of ramp with Soul Signet, Arcane Signet, but they didn't go too hard on this because at the end of the day most of our things cost 1 or 2, so no hardship there. Herald's Horns here, just so we can make our spells cost even less. The Banner of Kinship comes in as well from our brand new Foundation set. We might as well have this in here to give all our goblins a big boost with the Fellowship counters. Likewise, had to go old school with the coat of arms as well, because just why not? Why wouldn't you? Throne of Eldraine makes an appearance. I think all 3 of these cards will be coming in all typal decks going forward, and especially if they're mono with Throne of Eldraine, just for the extra card draw and the extra mana. Vanquish's Banner just gives us a way of drawing some more cards to get more goblins into play. Obelisk of Erd is here because we can convoke it out quite easily with this deck, so that's here. And I decided to have a little bit of fun with the slot I had left, and I went with a Chroma's Memorial. Now you could change this to Blasphemous Act, Chain Reaction, whatever you want to, but I want to play Chroma's Memorial because I haven't played it for ages. And yeah, Flying, First Strike, Vigilance, Trample, Haste, Protection from red and black. Yes please, we'll go with that, thank you very much. Enchantments are fun. Goblin Oriflames here to give all our attacking creatures +1/+0. Because we've got Impact Tremors on General Kreat, I figured it was worthwhile playing the original Impact Tremors as well. Goblin Assault just gives us more goblins to attack with each turn, so that's in as well. Hammer of Perforos gives everything haste, and at the end of the day we can sack a land if we need to get a 3/3 golem if we need a bigger blocker for some reason. But the card that will scare your opponents the most is Shared Animosity. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets +1/+0 until the end of the turn for each other attacking creature that shares a creature type with it. Yeah, your goblins become big and scary with this in play if you're attacking every turn. And there's absolutely no way you won't be. And this will give your opponents fits. I will promise you that. Lands wise, nothing too fancy. 26 mountains. The Arch to draw some cards along with Miku. Mines and Moria, so we can exile some cards from our graveyard if we need to get some treasures. We may or may not need this, but it's here in case we do. 26 mountains. Nykthos, Reliquary Tower, Riveter's Outlook, because, yeah, just decided to put this in to go gain a tiny bit of life in the occasional land. Spine Rock Null to do the whole hideaway thing. 3-Tree City, because, you know, at the end of the day we are playing a Goblin deck, so we might as well have this to go alongside Nykthos. And finally, Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle. We should be able to get 5 mountains into play at some stage during the game. We are playing 26 at the end of the day, so they should come through and help us out no end in the end. And that's it for today. I couldn't resist it any longer. If you think there's some goblins or things you could put in, I know Porphyros is missing, but everyone says in it Porphyros should probably be in the deck, but I've tried to go around it today. It may be that when I get around to playing this on MTGO, when the General Kreat hits, Porphyros goes in. But you can add Porphyros if you got one, you know, the one that when the creature comes to play deals 2 damage to each opponent. It makes sense. But for now, that's it. Goblin typal done for this set with a bit of luck. I'll be back next week with some more decks, but for now, 551 of you here, please hit the subscribe button that's down the bottom here somewhere, I hope. Leave me a comment if you think there's any goblins I've glaringly missed out or things you would play inside a mono red goblin typal deck. And like I say, I'll look at them, and if I need to make changes before this hits, I will make changes. And as soon as we get these on MTGO, I will be playing them on stream. So for now, thanks for watching, take care. And yeah, I'll be back next week with some more decks. See you soon. Bye.